Mark Rogers TV, just a few hours into National Signing Day. We're looking at the UCLA class with Mike Regalado from Gojo Bruin. Of course, Mike, we just talked about it a few minutes ago. Stephan Zabie, the offensive tackle, top 25 at that position. The latest get, denying Texas and Ole Miss their offers and heading out to the West Coast. So that's obviously the latest and best news for you.
Sorry, Mark, it froze. Sorry, it froze really badly.
Oh, that's okay. We can start over.
Okay,
I'll edit this. Not a big deal. Am I okay now?
Yeah, you don't know why it froze. Yeah, I can hear you now better. You did like zombie voice, robot voice for a while. Okay.
All right.
So ready.
Okay, very good. I don't know what happened there. Okay, we'll just keep recording. All right. Mark Rogers TV with our first report from National Signing Day, just a few hours into the day, and UCLA off to a good start, signing a top 25 offensive tackle in Stephan Zabie, luring him away from Ole Miss and also from Texas. We bring in a Mike Regalado from Gojo Bruin, who always helps us out on UCLA football. Mike, it's been a while. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you doing? It's National Signing Day. Time to get excited about college football when it's not college football.
Well, something has to keep us occupied in those 8 months that we're waiting to see the guys actually on the field. And of course, this has become kind of a national holiday for college football junkies like we are. So it's good to be in that upper range of the rankings, and UCLA solidifying its position between 15 and 20. And again, Zabie being the latest get.
Yeah, he was I woke up at 4:45 Pacific time because everything started a little bit earlier on the East Coast, and he had an announcement around 5:45 Pacific time. So I was up quite early, getting ready for that. It seemed like he was going to lean towards Texas, and then he announced for UCLA. So I was like, wow, that's fantastic, because he is the now fifth offensive lineman UCLA has in this class. I just want to verify that. Yeah, 5 offensive linemen, and it seemed that just in mid-December, I think they only had 2 or 3, and the offensive line was a bit of a concern last year. Just didn't have a fantastic running game, but one of the issues was depth. And add to that, Connor McDermott, graduating senior, is leaving the team. UCLA really needed to end strong with the offensive line, and so far I like what's happening. And the 4 other guys that they got, are good prospects. With some development, they could be really effective. But right now, I'm really happy about the fact that they have depth on the offensive line.
Well, Mike, your team plays at the Rose Bowl, so the rose-colored glasses are good to have. You know this better than me. It was a bottom 5 running game in the country last year. It was one of the worst rushing attacks in the country. So that points mostly to the offensive line.
Yeah.
And so in addition to the rest of the class, again, as we mentioned, a top 15 to 20 class, who are some of the guys that you're excited about at this point?
Well, I mean, the 2 guys, but there's one guy who's been committed for a long time, and he has also been recruiting for UCLA, Jalen Phillips, top defensive end in the land, 5-star kid out of Redlands East Valley. And he is just excited to be a Bruin, and we are excited to have him because he is just fantastic off the edge. He's a powerful kid. Jim Mora likes to start true freshmen, and there's a possibility that we could probably see him get a lot of playing time next year. And a couple of weeks ago, UCLA locked up their second 5-star commit, Darnay Holmes, who's just a fantastic cornerback, a kid out of Calabasas High School. He was just an amazing specimen. He's good in coverage. He can target the ball. He has good hands too. So if a ball comes his way and he intercepts it, takes it to the house, don't be surprised. Also had a lot of defensive backs. In this class, UCLA has, let me verify, 5 defensive backs, same amount as offensive linemen. And you need depth for those positions. But the guys that UCLA are getting is just, insane. Like I said, Darnay Holmes, Elijah Gates, who committed not too long ago. He's a 4-star out of Buena Park High School. Who else do we got? Jalen Shaw, Morel Osling, who committed a couple weeks ago, and Quentin Lake. So UCLA is deep in those that part of the team, especially on defense. They lose a lot of defensive players this year, so it's really good to see that they are restocking the cupboard, so to speak. So on the offensive side, it took a little bit to get going, but UCLA has gotten some really good commits lately. Like I said, the biggest thing was the offensive line, but they also have a quarterback coming in. They might be in the hunt for in the running for a running back that's currently committed to USC right now. So we'll see how that goes the rest of the day. But they have a Jimmy Jaggers, a 4-star tight end. So it's good to see that UCLA is going to continue using that position next season. But one concern is that they don't have any wide receivers. There's probably one that there's a chance they could get later in the day, but they don't have any wide receivers locked up right now. So right now, the defensive recruiting is a bit stronger. But overall, I like how they finished. In January, they had 9 commits this month alone. And they're in the top 10 in most recruiting sites. In mid-December, in Rivals, I believe it was, they were dropped down to 47th. So that was a concern in mid-December. So all of a sudden January comes up and boom, huge time for recruiting for Jim Mora and company.
Mike, it's been a talking point in the past with us, considering what Mora was able to do when he first hit campus and raised the level of play on the field. Now the program, at least if you just look at the wins and losses, has plateaued over the last couple of years, and obviously had a down season last year and really got hit with the injury bug the last 2 years. And Josh Rosen, of course, from a national perspective, being the poster child for major injuries across the country at quarterback. So it's kind of unfair to judge the 2-7 finish in the Pac-12 this year, considering the talent you have on the roster. But why do you think Mora and his staff is still able to recruit at the level that they are, considering some of the issues on the field and not breaking through to the top of the Pac-12?
They just have some really good coaches that really know how to go out there and grind it and get the recruiting done. Angus McClure, the defensive line coach, he's the recruiting coordinator, and he just seems to be in in conversations all the time, trying to get the best guys to come to UCLA, especially in his position. But at the same time, he has really good coaches that can recruit, on both sides of the ball. And it was a little odd because UCLA didn't have an offensive coordinator in a few positions until about a month after UCLA game. We called Jed Fish out of Michigan to be the new offensive coordinator. So it was just in time, and they were able to get a little bit of traction right around the end of the dead period. So that helped out a lot. They also got Deshaun Foster as a running backs coach. So this with the staff being a little bit more stable, I think it helped out recruiting, and prospects were able to see that there is a little bit more stability. Whatever the coaches are telling them, they obviously are putting some weight into it, and understand that UCLA can bounce back from horrible season. It's 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 a little odd that this is Mora's first losing season and people are calling for his head. I get it. There was just a little bit of a downward trend, but for the most part, I mean, he's won at the least 8 games in his previous 4 seasons. 2 times he had 10-win seasons. So it's like they can see that there's progress, and the defense has been a strong point of the UCLA football team. So now that they have the offense in order, and hopefully it does a little bit better than what Kennedy Polamalu did last year. Recruits just want to see some stability and a chance to play and to be successful. And so far, it hopefully we can get into what's actually going to happen later. But it's positive for UCLA and Jim Mora right now.
So UCLA right now, according to 24/7's composite, at number 19 in the national rankings. I just counted only one of 7 schools with multiple 5-star commits at this point. So it's 2 5-stars, 5 4-stars, 11 3-stars for UCLA. So you mentioned a wide receiver out there, Mike, that's still out there making his decision. Any 1 or 2 players out there that Jim Mora can hone in on and possibly make this an even better class this afternoon?
Well, there's talk that Stephen Carr, 5-star, a silent commit to silent USC, looking to the Bruins. So, I actually be surprised if he a letter of intent with UC. There's a a couple wide receivers, DeAndre McNeil, I think, but I think he was looking elsewhere other than UCLA. And let me just look really quickly. Yeah, there was another Ethan Thompson, I believe his name was. So I mean, there's still guys. Brian Thompson. I'm sorry. There's still guys that UCLA would love to have, but it just. I think the slow start did affect some commits too, so it was a little hard to get some key players. But for the most part, I think UCLA is happy with where they're at, especially with depth in certain position groups. So if UCLA gets any more players, that's just icing on the cake. But I think they have a pretty solid class. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. I mean, a top 20 recruiting class. What school wouldn't want that? So I like where they're going, especially with the offensive line recruits. Now, just hopefully they can put it into action and do better than 4-8 next year.
Mike, I'm here on the East Coast. You're in the West Coast. I sometimes forget on National Signing Day in particular that, it comes awfully early. And with Stephan Zabie announcing early, I'm glad that he at least came through for you and made it worthwhile for you to get up and hear the announcement.
I was half asleep, and I'm like, wait, he said UCLA. Got to send this article.
All right, Mike Regalado.
That's a good way to wake up.
Definitely. Mike Regalado from Gojo Bruin joining us on occasion to talk some UCLA football. Mike, we always appreciate the time, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.